Not sure how many of my friends are aware of this, but here in the United States, we're going through a bit of a political theater that we go through every 4 years. It's called a presidential election. Every 2 years we have an election where we re-represent or re-elect all the representatives, 435 of them, from various states. And then every 2 years we elect a third of our senators. There's 100 of them in total. So every 2 years we elect 33 or 34 of them. Now, one of our particular candidates got what I guess in parliamentary recently one of our candidates got what I suppose in a parliamentary system would be a vote of no confidence. Jim's not completely exactly sure how that works. He does know that from what he's read and from what he understands, in England, when there's a vote of no confidence and they decide to have general elections, they do it in a hurry. There's no prolonged 2-year campaign of each candidate throwing hateful words at each other, lies at each other, maybe even truths that are hurtful at each other. There's just a real quick, hey, elect me, don't elect him. I'd like that. I think our elections in America take entirely too long. But the crazy thing is, you never stop campaigning. It is said that once you get elected, the first thing you do in office is start collecting campaign money for your next election. And that's pretty sad, because that puts you in a position to where the guy that has the most money gets to talk to you the most. I don't care who you are and what you say. That's how politics works. If I make a bigger donation to your campaign than the other guy, you're going to listen to me. You're going to answer my phone call more than you are him. And it doesn't matter what the merits of his argument are. They're going to get heard less than the merits of my argument. There's a system set up in the U.S. form of government, and probably all governments around the world, called lobbyists. Lobbyists are people who are trying to influence and educate politicians. I say influence more than educate. But they are supposed to be people from industries that can come in and tell a politician, this is how my industry works, and this is why this particular piece of legislation, if worded like this, would help my industry. And if you helped my industry, it would help your constituents in this way. Now, if only it worked that well, that you're simply educating me as a politician as to how this legislation would help you and my constituents. Unfortunately, it comes across often as, hey, if you write this legislation this way, it helps me and my stockholders. And, well, some of your constituents may be stockholders. And, again, it goes back to money. If a lobbyist comes in and says, hey, I'd like to take you to dinner. Hey, I would like to fly you somewhere exotic to show you how our industry works. They're going to get listened to more than your constituent that says, hey, that big company you're talking to, they're not really helping us as constituents. Another thing that frustrates Jim about American politics is we're told that there is a liberal left and a conservative right. And it's two of them have differing ideals as to how to do the same thing. But, unfortunately, I believe that our government, in the last 40 or 50 years, has constantly edged to the right, to conservatism. That now what you used to would call a liberal is really just slightly left of center, instead of very far to the left, like they used to be. And that is frustrating, because now while they're both trying to achieve the same thing, instead of having radically different ideals as to how to get there, they have mildly different ideals as to how to get there. And they have become a class of their own politicians. And a lot of what they are trying to do, no matter how they do it, is advance their own agenda and promote themselves. And, as everyone likes to do, make more money for themselves. So their ideals, even though we like to think that they're radically different, are still all aimed at the same goal: keeping them in office and keeping them letting us know how we should live our lives. Anyway, Jim doesn't like to get too political on this. He'd rather this be a fun place we can come. But he is curious. How does your government system work? Is it a parliamentary system? Is it a democracy? Is it a republic? Is it, for lack of a better term, a dictatorship? Where you know who's going to get elected. You just have elections to let that person win 98% of the vote, declare themselves the winner. What are some of the things you like and dislike about your particular system? Again, you don't have to get too political or too nitty-gritty, but just let Jim know what some of the things you like or dislike.